I'd like to talk about another topic that you spoke about it. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday on Instagram about the expression "nigga" in English, because you said, "Well, guys, it's not nice, it's not good." And you also said, like here in Brazil, we say "viado," but for like our friends, our male friends, we say that, and it's not offensive for us. So we say, okay. I might not use it because I'm not used to, because I don't know this person, but you guys do, so okay. But like nigga, it doesn't sound okay or good. It sounds really offensive, right?
Yeah, well, that guy that I was showing you in that image, that was the slave owner of my family, as he was whipping, what do you think he called my great-great-grandfather?
Yeah,
as he's
nigga.
whipping him, kicking him, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's a nigga. So, like, and then after... Who do you think the Ku Klux Klan is saying when they're riding into your property?
Their horses, yeah.
What do they call
Do you
it?
know the origin of the word?
Some people say, because some people say like negus and kings, and a lot of I don't know if that stuff is true, man. Like, there's no like. I remember these people were saying like back in the day, Africa was called Akabalan or something like that.
Something like that.
And I'm like, how in that era would you have a name for something so big? You know what I mean? One person created a name for something so big. Like, so when people had these origin stories, like, I don't know if it's true.
But let me ask you one thing. I heard that, like, I'm Brazilian. I cannot go to a black place in the U.S. and say nigga. But in some points, like, people can call themselves this way because they were born there, you know, their reality. Is it really real or not?
People do it all day. People do it all the day, all the time. Like, all my students, when I was at work, they all, nigga. It's every day, it's all the time. But you have to understand what you're looking at, though. You're looking at a people who are being controlled mentally. Even if they don't think that they're being, like, they could seem like the smartest person in the world. And they are. A lot of people that say nigga, they're smart people. They just don't understand the gravity because they didn't live in that era. So for them, it's just like, it's just a word. You know, it has no... And in their mind, I changed the word because the original word is nigger with the ER at the
ER,
end.
the hard R.
But my thing is, black people do that with everything. I'm better or I'm better, right? I'm a teacher or I'm a teacher. We do that, and in black, every ER...
No difference.
Yeah, the ER
Almost the
becomes
same.
The A. So, like, my thing is, like, you're not changing the word. You're saying it in the way that black people say every word. Like,
The history behind the word is it's a little bit complicated. I mean, like, so a lot of the slave owners and, you know, they use that word as a way to sort of subjugate and sort of label the enslaved people, right? So then, you know, shortly after slavery and the Reconstruction era, which they call that period after slavery, a lot of black people started to use the word amongst themselves, right? And but with a different sort of tonation, like Jordan is saying, like with it's like a nigga instead of nigger. Like nigger is sort of offensive. It's offensive, and I guess culturally, it's kind of one of those things that it's like sort of understood that only black people can use this word because it's like a taking of power back, you know, because this word was used to sort of like, you know, make me feel less than, but like I want to own this word now. So that's kind of how I think the psychology of that word sort of like evolved. So it's something that we wanted to, that as black people we took back and said, hey, this is, you know, our word now. So it's a bit complicated.
It's very complicated.
Really complicated, but it's not good at all.
Because me personally, I don't think we took it back. I think some black people always said nigga, but in my grandmother's generation, that word every time, because I used to live with my grandmother and my cousin, same age as me, and he didn't care. He would bring his whole friends that be playing video games. Ah, you stupid nigga. And my grandmother's room is like right there.
Yeah.
And like every time, it doesn't
hurts
matter.
her.
It hurts her.
Yeah, it's not like something from her grandmother. No, it's like it's a recent thing.
Yeah, she was born in 1925, my grandma.
Yes.
She's dead now. She died in 2018, but she was born in 25. Like, she grew up hearing people call her that word, you know?
Yeah.
So it's different for her, and it's different for the older generation of black people that had been there for a long time and have experienced that sort of vitriol and cruel like racism. So it's like, the younger people, they don't really understand the gravity. And, you know, that's what creates that sort of, I guess, misunderstanding between generations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's too early to forget.
Too early to forget. It's only 150 years ago.
But the thing is, we don't want to, we probably would have forgotten.
Yeah.
Like, because there were other words, right? There were other words that we had even in the 70s. You drive, turkey. What's going on, brother? Hey, blood. It's this blood. You hear the blood gang and all that, but the real, like, the Bloods from in Los Angeles, they formed that gang because people was already saying blood. That's what up, young blood? Right? That's that old way of speaking, right? That they killed that because they saw that they didn't have to have the Ku Klux Klan. They didn't have to kill us if we could do it to each other. And how could we do it to each other? Let me put it in the music. So before, actually, the movies, how did black people start saying nigga massively? The black exploitation. Have you ever heard of black exploitation films?
No.
Oh, you gotta look at
era of. It's like it was like an era of time in which, you know, Hollywood saw that it was profitable to make movies about black people, but oftentimes these movies would contain harmful stereotypes.
Yes. And those stereotypes, actually, they saw from the movies starting in the 70s that we'll imitate that. When they did Superfly, that directly was responsible for a lot of people's deaths in Los Angeles. The Bloods and the Crips had already started 10 years before they made Superfly. They made Superfly in, I think, 71, something like that. And, like, yo, he won at the end of the movie. Yeah. That was the first movie where a bad guy won, and it's not for nothing that it's a black movie.
And for some people, like, this kind of thing, the stereotype is something soft. It's something that we put some references, and then when we realize, like, we have this picture in our mind, like we get it to ourselves. That's a problem. Anyway, it's the end of our conversation here. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. Like my first time talking to you. I obviously would love to have you guys again. Well, you live in Bahia, so it's gonna be like much harder.
Yeah, I come to Sao Paulo a lot. I come to
nomad. He lives everywhere.
Yeah, I come to Sao Paulo a lot. I love Sao Paulo.
Yeah, we didn't talk about our students. I forgot it. We went too deep.
We're talking about a lot of different stuff. We scatterbrain.
But it was a nice talk. So it was a pleasure. And before we finish our podcast, we normally make a questions to our guests. Do you want to do it?
These questions, I'm not sure if it fits well for you guys, but anyway.
We can change a little bit. Like, they can talk about how English is important, because they mainly because he's an English.
Yeah. So usually this question means which message you leave for someone Brazilian that doesn't speak English yet. But yeah, that might fit well. Which message you guys would leave?
That want to speak English, they want to learn, because some people don't care to learn, right?
Yeah. Well, we never thought about this way, but yeah, for who else wants to learn English?
Yeah, normally the people who watch the podcast, they want to learn.
Yeah. Okay.
Go first? Yeah, I think I'll go first. So one thing I've noticed, because for a while I've been helping my wife improve English, and things don't really translate literally. Yeah. So I think language is all about ideas, right? Yeah. Like how you express an idea. Like I can say I'm hungry, right? Like I am something. But like in Portuguese, you say eu tô com fome. Like you have something. I have hunger. So like it translates differently, and we don't really pronounce every letter, right? Like one thing I was trying to get my wife to do is to stop pronouncing ed, like stop it. She says stop it.
That's a big thing. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So we don't really pronounce like every single letter, you know. So just read a lot of books, or things that you're interested in, and watch podcasts, and try and practice as much as you can,
In your case, you're nomad, and you able to give your service for anyone around the world because you speak English, right? If some Brazilian want to be nomad and it just speak Portuguese, it's just you know, just for countries that speak Portuguese, they can sell their product. But in English, you can sell for people in Australia and somewhere, I don't know,
in Asia.
It doesn't matter because you speak English. So in your case, it's very important you speak English, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for nomad, for someone who wants to become a nomad.
Yeah. So most of my clients are from the United States. Some are from like Europe, you know. So and everybody like I said speaks English.
English
so
is important.
Even people who don't speak English, like I'll get some people from France sometimes, but they'll communicate with me in English. And I guess it's one of those things where it's a global language, and it's kind of hard to escape if you want to have opportunities outside of Brazil or have clients outside of Brazil. So yeah, it's kind of, but I mean, with that, there's a lot of resources for learning. I mean, you know, I've met Brazilians. I remember one of the first guys that I met who taught himself English was from here in Sao Paulo. He gave me a tour. I had a tour on Airbnb of like, you know, Sao Paulo central area and everything the first time I came. And it was so good. Like he barely made any mistakes. And I asked him, I said, how did you learn English? Because I was just so fascinated and I wanted to learn Portuguese. And he was just telling me that, I just use Netflix. So he used what is available to him. And I guess he probably used other Facebook groups as well. But, you know, use what's available to you to learn. Like if you have a Netflix account, start with that. And also one other thing I've been using is Spotify. So Spotify has this feature where I think I can show it to you right now, where they transcribe the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, so like when I'm watching Podpa or like Flow Podcast or one of these podcasts, like they'll transcribe it. So let me show you. I have like a whole
it's really
playlist.
Good to learn.
It's not this one.
Yesterday we were talking about how we learn English. So I was telling, like back when I was studying, we have, you know what is Omigo? Omigo, it's a social media that connects people from around the world. So that's a way that I had to talk in English, you know? Like I was studying, no practicing. So the name of the app was Live Mocha. So you get
I've heard of Live Mocha.
it's not worked like for a long time. But you put I speak Portuguese, learning English, and then they're gonna match you with someone that is studying English as well, or is a English speaker and wants to learn Portuguese. Gotcha. So what is the?
Yeah, I'm trying to find like a recent.
And you, what
is the message?
Your final message.
I think my final message would be just like everything that you do in life, when you're walking around and you're seeing things, at least know how to say that in English. Like if you're walking on the street, I'm walking on the sidewalk, right? Now I'm crossing the street. Oh, look, there's a car. It's a blue car. It's an electric car, an EV, an electric vehicle. It's there's traffic right now. I'm stuck in traffic. Oh, what a beautiful day. The sun is shining. Like being able to just look at your surroundings and be able to say in your head, not out loud because you want to seem crazy.
Sure, I used to do that, but anyway.
If you don't care about seeming crazy, it's actually better. Because you could go in the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you're a tiger. You're a champion.
You rock,
right? And somebody might come in and see you. You don't care because you're focused on like I'm trying to learn this language, right? So, I the best thing I can say is that if you don't live in a country where the language is being spoken, try to get it inside of your head, and in every type of experience that you can have, like where you can say something, say it. But you always have the opportunity to observe and speak to yourself in your head.
Yeah, nice advice.
Knowledge is something that no one can take away from you.
Not at all.
Sure. Well, if it's enough brain trauma.